What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaiju no Kami from the Toku and Animation News Network, and this is my quickie review for Spider-Man Unlimited. Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. Spider-Man Unlimited was a series that launched on Fox in 1999, was kind of like meant to be an ish sequel to the original 90s tune, but not quite. It came out because Silver Surfer was doing poorly, and they needed a new show to take over from Silver Surfer, so they decided to make another Spider-Man series, and we got Spider-Man Unlimited, which was a thing. Let's start with the good. The animation. I really like the way the animation is done. It's this really smooth looking, highly detailed animation with a lot of shading and shadows. I really like the way Spider-Man's costume is at the start of the series. He's got his web wings, which was pretty damn awesome. It was kind of weird that his eyes were green instead of white though, but the animation itself was pretty good. When he fights Venom and Carnage, they're really gooey looking, and they actually kind of reminded me of Clayface with the way they're done, because they can open their chest up so anything that's shot at them can go through. They can seep through panels in the floor or a rocket ship. I actually didn't think Brock and Cletus were actually inside of them. I thought at this point the symbiotes were their own beings, but that is not to be the case, which doesn't make sense at all one bit, as episode 11 has Brock being freed from the symbiote, and then 13 has Cletus and Brock being removed from the symbiote with Brock again. It was kind of weird, but anyway, the animation is really well done. I really like the shading that's going on, and the new Spider-Man costume is really nice looking. It does look very reminiscent to the 2099 suit, so I feel like they just copied that suit. But it still had a really cool design to it. I like how there's a lot of blue with black detail, or is it black with blue detail? And then the red. It was kind of weird to have a suit made out of nanites, but it worked for the confines of the story, because clearly this takes place at some time in the future, since they have a rocket ship with a space gateway that can take them all the way around to the other side of the sun. So what is the plot to this show? Well, they have discovered another planet on the other side of the sun that is in the exact same orbit as Earth. So they always rotate against each other, so they can never cross paths in orbit. John Jameson is flown up to space using a gateway thing to go to the other side. Venom and Carnage end up hijacking a ride with him, and then 6 months go by. John Jameson calls for help, so Spider-Man with Peter Parker to take pictures, kind of weird, fly off to go to counter Earth. Turns out it's an Earth run by beastmen, and humans are like the lower form of life on here, because the High Evolutionary has decided he was bored of humans and wanted to upgrade everyone to an animal form. It's kind of like the island of Dr. Moreau. In fact, I think in the first episode, Peter says, is this the island of Manhattan Moreau? Or the Manhattan Island of Dr. Moreau? So, nice little joke there. We've got 4 horsemen, a tiger, a ram, a rat who has a thing for Peter, and she's also voiced by the lady that did Black Cat in the first Spider-Man animated series, and a bear. He ends up having to join a resistance who are trying to stop the High Evolutionary. He ends up coming across mutant versions of Green Goblin, who is just weird. We have another version of Vulture, who's just basically the Vulture. We have a Hunter, who's basically Kraven. So they weren't very original when they were trying to bring in Spider-Man-like villains. But the biggest issue is that I just found the show to be downright boring. Oh my god, some episodes felt like they were an hour long with how much was going on in them. Plots did not make sense. Plots were very boring, they were basic, and then we had some plot twists that felt like they were contradicting what was established early on. But since the show was canceled and we don't know what's going on, it's possible that they would have made more sense later because the show just kind of leaves off. I mean, there's not even a to be continued in the show. Something happens and they make this comment and it goes to a blackout as if it's going to commercial, and then the Marvel logo comes up and the credits start rolling. It's like, wait, that was the end of the episode? That was the end of the series? You didn't even have to be continued? You just stop it like that? What kind of freaking bullshit is that? It's a complete waste of time to bother watching this show. There are a few cool aspects, but yeah, that lack of an ending, of lack of anything, did not make it worth sitting through. Even at just 13 episodes, it was not worth it. Voice acting is hit or miss. Jennifer Hale, that's who I was trying to think of as the rat lady who voiced Felicia and Black Cat in the first Spider-Man cartoon. But we've got a lot of Ocean Group voice actors. Rhinox is the voice for the High Evolutionary, which is kind of cool because we got to hear how devious Rhinox could be in Beast Machines and one episode of Beast Wars when Rhinox was turned evil. Here he amps it up. It just goes nowhere. We've got the Dubson brothers take a couple voices. Green Goblin is voiced by Peter. He also ends up working at a photography newspaper agency of a guy who wants pictures of Spider-Man, who's not Jameson, doesn't even have half the charisma of Jameson, but he's voiced by Gary Chalk, who is Optimus Primal in Beast Wars. And he ends up staying with a doctor and her son. Her husband ran out on them, but it seems like he might actually be Green Goblin, but they don't actually develop this plot further than that. I'm assuming this was going to be fully fleshed out later on. There's all these plot lines going on, and there's no resolution to them. Either way, the show is not really worth your time. It feels like just a poor man's Batman Beyond, but with Spider-Man. And yeah, it's not really worth it. If you have Disney Plus and you don't care about wasting 5 hours of your life you'll never get back, by all means check it out. Otherwise, I personally say I watch this show so you don't have to. If you're curious, sure, watch an episode or two, but don't expect anything grand. I do wish the animation for this style had been used in the main animated series though, because that would have really helped make it more kick-ass and probably would have aged the animation a lot better. I am totally I'm over this show. I finished it the other day and I just want to be done. So overall, I am going to give Spider-Man Unlimited a generous 4 out of 10. Like I said, don't waste your time with it unless you're a diehard Spider-Man fan who really wants to check this out, or you buy that upcoming Hasbro Marvel Legends figure and you want to know where it came from just to see the suit in action, then sure, whatever. But if you haven't seen it and you don't have an interest, don't waste your time. If you have seen the show, what was your favorite episode? What did you think about it? I can't really say I had a favorite episode because I was so bored. I guess my favorite episode would be the one with the wannabe Kraven, because Spider-Man does a pretty cool sequence towards the end with his suit being nanotech. That was pretty clever. It was probably the cleverest thing this show had done in its entirety. So I would say that would be my favorite episode. The worst episode of the series is the finale because none of it makes any goddamn sense. The episode feels like a complete rush job, goes nowhere, and does nothing. The whole show was a just complete waste of time, as I've already said. So, with that in mind, click like, subscribe, the bell notification, whatever else YouTube has you clicking to support us. You can support me on Patreon and Bluesky at TAANN Network, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami. I have a GoFundMe available with a link in the description below. My website is creativitybydesignllc.com. You can also buy cool Kaiju no Kami merchandise at creativitybydesignllc.com/shop. There's a link in the description below. And, well, once again, what is your favorite Spider-Man animated series? Until next time, bye!